I'm Rolf Versluis. I'm one of the co-founders of ZClassic, and we're a cryptocurrency that was launched in May. And soon after that, we had some problems and were attacked. And so was able to get some general principles that I'm able to share with y'all on preparing for your cryptocurrency to be attacked, which might happen at some point, and I'll explain why. Also give a little bit of overview of ZClassic, talk about what we've done so far and where we're going. We should have some time for questions at the end, too. So imagine a world where you actually had some privacy. We had your personal business private. We didn't have people sending you mail in the mail about, hey, you know, we saw that you had this loan or you need a credit card. We actually had some control over your personal information. I know that seems a little bit strange in this day and age, but it'd be nice to be able to get back to that. Where if you had, a family relative who was sick or a death in the family or something, you don't get people that are starting to call and sell you stuff. So that's one of the things that, I have 4 kids. I have a family. I like to keep some things private about my life. And one of the things that you can't do is that, I just assume that everything that I do on the internet is monitored and tracked somewhere. It'd be nice to be able to change that. And if you have privacy and you're not concerned as much about what people are going to track and think of what you're doing, maybe you have the opportunity to not worry about being socially shamed or what other people think all the time, and just do what you want and achieve, the greatness that you can achieve. So that's one of the big picture goals of what we're trying to do with ZClassic. Looks like we're scrolling down here. Can I get a little bit of AV help on that? So ZClassic was designed for privacy. We launched at the end of May, and I started out in the cryptocurrency business a few years ago as a miner, because I know miners make money for sure. And I had some background experience. I used to be an officer in the Navy on a submarine, run a nuclear power plant. So I'm a nuclear engineer, electrical engineer. I started a data networking company back in early 2000 after I left Cisco Systems and grew that. So I got a little bit of experience running a business and doing networks and network security. So mining was pretty straightforward for me. And I was mining ZClassic because it's really revolutionary in some of the things that they do. And there was a fork of ZClassic called ZClassic, and was mining that, and that was wonderful. But we wanted to do some things with it. So I got together with some other folks in the ZClassic community, and we said, hey, how about we take some of the best practices from some of the other cryptocurrencies out there. Really admired Zcash and Dash. I was fortunate to buy a little bit of Dash early and have some master nodes, and I got to thank Amanda for, I need to talk to her about that and give her a big thank you. And so we took some of those best practices about treasuries and rewarding node owners and the ZK snarks from Zcash and put them together, and that was what the idea behind ZClassic was. And it's nice to have the blockchain and see what happens with Bitcoin, because they're kind of a leading indicator for what's going to happen with the altcoins and other cryptocurrencies. And I keep coming back to this quote from Mahatma Gandhi when he was leading the movement to get independence in India from the United Kingdom, where first you get ignored. And Bitcoin's been ignored for many years. And I think we're in the process where Bitcoin's being ridiculed. People saying, it's not real, it's in a bubble, it's a scam. I think all of the folks in this room know that that's not true, but I think that's where we are in the process. And then as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies start interrupting and disrupting established businesses, I think there's going to be some people that don't like that their rice bowls are being upset, that their power or wealth or influence is being disrupted. It's going to happen, but I don't think they're going to like it. And so, like a lot of big companies, they've got IT departments. They've got guys that and folks that can do a denial of service attack or put code into the open source projects that can maybe not be so good for it. So there's a lot of different ways that cryptocurrencies can get attacked. I think we're going to get to that point. Now, ZClassic was attacked early. We were attacked a week after we launched. We had some issues. And based on that, there's some lessons learned that I figured be able to pass along to y'all that are responsible in looking at other cryptocurrencies. So we launched as a chain split, and one of the things that we figured out afterwards was that there was a large pump and dump operation for ZClassic before the split. So everybody's familiar with a chain split now and the issues with transaction replay because Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash went through that recently. Preventing transaction replays where, if you have a cryptocurrency that has access to the blockchain, taking that transaction that you've done and replaying it onto the other chain can get you free cryptocurrency. We had to make sure that we prevented that from happening. What I realized afterwards that there was a lot of unrealistic expectations set by people that bring the word to their followers about different cryptocurrencies, and that had some lingering issues. But our lead developer was unhappy with the project, and we had a flaw in our code that the transaction replay code expired after a week after launch, and we had some transaction replays. We had people that lost money, and our lead developer didn't want to go through the process with us and fix everything, I guess, and so he left and then was part of a group to attack the cryptocurrency. So it's kind of embarrassing that I partnered with somebody like that, but that's what happened. And so we had the choice because we had no development ability at that point, and we had problems, and BitRick had closed the wallet, and we could either pack up our things and go home or work our way through it. And we decided we were going to work our way through it. And we had scheduled a launch at Consensus, the big Bitcoin conference in New York City in May, and we delayed that a little bit because of some of the code issues. But fortunately, while we were there, we had met some folks that were really big in the cryptocurrency industry and had experience with working many different projects. They're advisors to Zencash now. One's Stephen Narioff, another is Charles Hoskinson. And it was Charles that came and helped us out quite a bit. He was involved with Ethereum and with BitShares, and has a company called IOHK where they have teams of cryptocurrency developers all over the world that have different skill sets that he contracts out to cryptocurrencies. And one of the recent things that Charles was involved in was the launch of Cardano, which was a new cryptocurrency that just launched. And I think it's in the top 20 now. He had a team of developers in the Ukraine that had doctorates and C++ coding experience and Bitcoin experience. And he called up me and the other co-founder, Rob, and said, hey, these guys will help you out. Whatever you need them to do, for as long as you need them to do it, they're here to help you out. And that was a godsend because they immediately came in and fixed the transaction replay code, got us at least somewhat stable, and got the BitRick wallet open. And then continued to work through the white paper that we had written to do some of the other things. And I'll give you an update on where we're at. But one of my lessons from that is it really helps to talk to people, tell them what your plans are, ask how you can help them, and then sometimes they'll turn around and help you. Again, that was wonderful that he did that. After the immediate crisis was over, and one of the things, in trying to get our BitRick wallet open, I talked to the founder of BitRick, Bill, and he has quite a bit of experience at Microsoft in the security arena. And he told me that one of the things that he had learned over his time there was that when you have a crisis, you need to provide people information and updates twice a day. And so we did that. Sometimes we didn't have any new news. Sometimes we did it as a video. Sometimes we did it as a blog post. But while we had that wallet closed and while we were having those transaction replays that were occurring, we did that. We were forthcoming with our communication and telling people that what was going on. And I think that was really helpful. I'm glad that he provided that advice to us. When the crisis was immediately over, then we had to say, okay, we're not operating in crisis mode anymore. We don't have to make big changes and decisions without thinking them through and talking them through. And that's one of the things that if you're part of a cryptocurrency project that is in a crisis, you'll recognize when it's over and then see what you can do to address the root cause of that. Make sure it doesn't happen again. And then think, what other possible things can go wrong and how are we going to prevent those from happening? So that's why I got to slow down, think about what you want to do. Now, cryptocurrencies have a lot of different vulnerabilities, and it's worth thinking about this. I got a picture of a oil refinery. Oil refineries, y'all should be familiar with them here in Texas, pretty complicated systems. There's a lot of different things that can go wrong with them. These big, industrial factories that have grown over years and years have complex systems. Cryptocurrency projects are as well. There's a lot of different moving parts to them. And there's a lot of levers of control and places of weakness. One of the things that we did not have control of, that we were affected of with Zencash, we lost our domain name. We had to change our domain name from zencash.io to zensystem.io. It's one of those things that happens. So part of what we did to make sure that that wasn't going to happen again was we set up a Zen Blockchain Foundation, and that's got advisors, and that nonprofit organization has control of the different, what I call, keys to the cryptocurrency. And then be very forthcoming and communicate with the miners, the pools, the exchanges, the people that run nodes. And one of the things that I've noticed as we grow and have more partnerships, more and more people depend and are involved with our success. So if we're going to make a change, we need to make sure we communicate that early and do it in a methodical process where we go through, and just like software development, where you have development and prototype and testing and then in production, you have to have a way that you go through a process and make sure that the people who depend upon your cryptocurrency are going to have a reliable system up and running. There's not so obvious vulnerabilities as well. And some of these, like the pump and dump groups, we saw that recently. Zen had a price rise, which was really fortunate. Rob had been out at the Nexus Earth Conference and talked to a newsletter writer, Tika Tavari, and who writes a newsletter, and talked a little bit about Zencash. That was great. Well, I guess there's a pump and dump group out there that know when his newsletter is going to come out, and someone had gotten a rumor that there was going to be a cryptocurrency that he recommended that was a privacy coin. So all the privacy coins went up in price before his newsletter came out. And we saw afterwards that people had taken his information, posted his picture on it, and made up completely new information of what it was out and sent it out to people. So there's a lot of manipulation that happens in this. And when the price gets manipulated up and a lot of people buy, well, what we noticed was they then joined the Slack or the forums, and for the next few months, as the price comes back down to a normal level, complain about the price coming down. And so that can wear on people. And so one of the things that I learned, and most of other folks that are involved in cryptocurrencies have learned, is don't really discuss price because it doesn't really matter. Price will eventually reach to what the market values the usefulness of the cryptocurrency. And there's really nothing that we can do to address that. And so we try to talk about it as little as possible. Another is that you don't have a product market fit. So I was out in Menlo Park last week and was reminded that that's the place where a lot of startups happen. And there's a lot of incubators, a lot of startups, and everybody there is thinking about, okay, what am I going to do? What kind of company am I going to start? How am I going to get to product market fit? And that's a really important one, because markets are important. Having a product that addresses the market is important, and having a team that can make that product address the market is important. Oh, 1 minute? Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm not done. Yeah, that's all right. Sometimes I talk a little extra. But the other thing that you don't want to have is you don't want no investors or buyers. If miners are always mining or proof of stake, there's always cryptocurrency being emitted, and the folks that are doing it have to sell it to meet their electricity bills. I'm a miner, I know that. So there's always a pressure that's selling, so you want to have people that are going to use your cryptocurrencies, and different cryptocurrencies address those in different ways, whether it's through masternodes or staking. What we decided that we wanted to do was make our cryptocurrency useful. So some of the lessons that we've had is that the things that you're going to need for a cryptocurrency to last for a long time is to build those structures before you need it. And so as you go into long term, and I've got till half past, right?
Well, no, we have time between you and the next guy.
Oh, okay.
So, but don't worry, we have 5 minutes of questions.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you.
Top points, I'm not going to cut you off.
Okay, well, excellent. Thanks. So build the things before you need it. So we went through and built the structures that we need. We've got the Zen Blockchain Foundation. We've hired attorneys to help us. We've contracted with marketing folks to get the word out to people. We have developers that we've contracted with. And we have a PR firm. These are all important things that are all part of the project that aren't necessarily technical, but are important to the success of the project. So what we decided that we wanted to do for people to buy our cryptocurrency was to make it useful. And one of the ways that you make it useful is you have a lot of different wallets that people can actually use. So here's a picture of the Android wallet. You can download it from the Play Store right now. It's the Zen wallet, and it's pretty useful. It can do a lot of different things. We've got a couple different desktop GUI wallets that have different focuses. We've got a web wallet. We're working with Ledger and Coinomi for integration of their wallets, and we're on exchanges. So you can acquire it and you can use it, and that's a pretty good starting point. We figured it's not just...
Let's take some time for questions.
Well, why don't you let me finish?
Well, you can...
I've got my main points that I'm hitting now, man.
Okay.
Well, ultimately, it's your presentation.
Okay,
Sorry.
thanks. All right, so we figured that it's good to have people use it. It's even better to have people all over the world use it. So we've got international ambassadors, translations to different countries' languages, and you can see even though our nodes our secure node program is running in testnet, we've got over 400 nodes out there. We expect to have a few thousand of them soon. So the important part that we got from Zcash was shielded transactions. Most people are familiar with Bitcoin transactions, which have unspent transaction outputs. But shielded transactions are different in that they have commitments and nullifiers, and only the sender and receiver can see who sent it, who received it, or how much it was. And that's a big deal. Not only that, Zika and the Zcash team put in a 512-byte message field. So you can send messages to other people on the blockchain fully encrypted. So you can send messages the same way that you send transactions. So our wallets support that. And as far as I know, we're the first wallet to support sending messages, one-to-one messages, encrypted on the blockchain. And one of our developers developed a chat application. So not only do we have one-to-one messaging, we have group messaging, fully encrypted, that can be either done privately or anonymously. And if you send a URL to something that has been published on the internet in an anonymous manner, then you can also do publishing. Now, if we figure if people are going to be actually using this for all the different things that we want it for, we need to plan that we have nonstop operation. So that's why part of our funding redirection is to reward people who run nodes that stay up and running. And that software development has been in progress for 3 months now. We went through alpha testing. We're currently in beta testing. We think we're going to go to full production here in the next few weeks. So not only is the transport encrypted between all the wallets and nodes, which is different than a lot of cryptocurrencies, but we've got systems in place to keep people running nodes up and running. Got a lot of different things that we've got in the roadmap. So we've got a bunch of things accomplished. We have a bunch of things in progress, and then we're looking towards the future to continue to improve. And just like Dash, we have the ongoing treasury funding that goes to the Zen Blockchain Foundation that we can then spend for development and marketing and all sorts of other things that we need to continue to maintain relevance. So, if you're going to look at cryptocurrency projects or start one, think about evaluating it for the long term. Who are the people that are involved in it? What's their motivation? What do they want to accomplish? What's the market that this is going after it? Are they able to address this market and do this? And just like it was great a few years ago to have a cryptocurrency project with a lead developer that was a guru that put something out there because it was not a very crowded space. The market space is getting much more crowded now. So cryptocurrency projects need to take lessons from the startup company environment that's been around for a long time and start having full, complete organizations that can address the different needs. And then ask the crazy questions. What if cryptocurrency is outlawed? What if you get attacked? What if something else bad happens? Game these things out and think about what you're going to do. And finally, just some more lessons learned. I mean, try to do the right thing. Try to address the market. Try to realize this is a small community and a lot of people talk to a lot of different people. And have fun. I mean, this is cryptocurrency. This isn't life and death situation. Enjoy working with your team and enjoy working with the projects that you're at. Thanks. Sorry I hit the end of it without questions, but thank you.